Do you even know about gang shit when you first moved to Florida?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay. You already knew about that.
I already knew that up in Boston. So that's really where I had like my first impression on gangs. Is when I was younger, there was somebody older than me. He was probably like 15, but being young as fuck, I'm looking at him like, oh, that's the big bro.
Right.
And he was blood. You know what I mean? So he telling me like we riding out, hanging out, and he's like, oh yeah, you that. So from that early age, I'm screaming on that, even though I'm really not.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I go to Florida, I'm still in the same shit, but the gang shit down there, that's what was more official and in your face. You know?
How established was the gang shit in Boston though at that time?
It's not at all.
It doesn't seem like it would have been much.
It isn't even to this day. So Boston ain't really on no hood. It's all hoods.
Right.
It's not really gangs. You might have certain gang members within certain hoods. You know what I mean? Because you even got like out here the Stones, BPS or whatever. They in Boston.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that's all West Side. So.
But there's not a lot of examples of that, of gangs that are out here that also exist in Boston?
Nah, outside of Massachusetts, they got Asian boys, they got Tiny Rascals. A lot of the Cambodian gangs that started out here, they migrated to Mass.
Right.
They got GDs from Chicago, all type of shit, but it's not in the city of Boston. Boston is strictly hoods and streets.
Right.
So like for me, when I moved out, the street I was living on, just that one street had multiple different hoods. Every single, you got one corner store for you, the next corner store is someone else's shit.
It's crazy because I lived in Lowell for a year, going to UMass Lowell when I was 19. And when I think back on that time period, nobody was talking about like black gangs or like, oh, you got to be scared of this dude or whatever. It was the Cambodians that people were scared of. Like if you were at the skate park, the person who was going to rob you at the skate park or whatever was a Cambodian dude for sure, which is kind of strange to me at the time because now people act like when I did that stupid Young Vlog, people are shocked. I was kind of used to that.
They be getting it in.
Yeah.
They demand respect and they'll fuck some shit up. So
big time.
They do their thing.
Okay, but so how'd you kind of find your groove in Florida?
Well, like I said, I was attracted to the madness. So by the time I hit Tampa, just seeking out the people I was seeking out, I got into the crowd, you know what I'm saying? So on a gang tip, it wasn't like I had applications and was like, oh, you can be a Crip, you can be a this. Everybody around me was blood. Tampa's a blood city. We got other shit, but Tampa, it's blood. That's what it is. It's a red city.
Right.
So I got around the homies and shit. I've already been claiming this shit anyways, and I wasn't even officially, you know what I mean? And then I got put on.
Right. How was that?
I mean, it is what it is. You got to go through it.
Yeah, but there's levels to that shit. Would you say it was a 10 or was it a light one?
Nah, mine was wild. I'm white, so it's different. A lot of people like, oh, ain't no white bloods, ain't no this, ain't no that. There really ain't.
Right.
So at this point in time, not to sound no type of way, but I'm about the biggest known white blood that there is. It's not common like that.
It's not.
So for me, I had to show out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I got my ass whooped.
When you think about it in retrospect, do you feel like you always felt like you had to go harder because you were white or you had to really sort of overcompensate because you didn't want anybody trying to press you?
Yeah, I mean, it ain't even, you gonna get pressed. Like, that's what comes with the territory. But everybody you meet, you gonna have the same reaction, bro. And it's just like, even when I jumped on YouTube, the majority of the people that's talking shit, they're not in nothing. It's random fat white guys that sit at home, 30s, 40s, 50s, that talk mad shit. I don't know why, but the sober community hates me. All the ex-drug addicts and shit, they're like, oh, you ain't on nothing. I was over here. And I'm like, bro, worry about the sobriety. Don't worry about me. But it's like, a lot of people will just look at it like, oh, white this, nah, he ain't on that.
Yeah.
But then they talk to somebody. So there was a situation when I was in prison, a homie came through, the homies are telling him who I am, and he's like, oh, ain't no white down moves. Oh, yeah? Go tell him. He said, what you mean? Nah, go tell him that.
Right.
He didn't want to tell me. So, that in itself, it speaks for itself, you know what I mean?
And it puts you in kind of a weird position where it's like you have to sort of express yourself way more aggressively just to defend the shit that you are saying that you are, you know?
I'm not even, like, bro, I'm to myself. I'm quiet, you know what I mean?
Now.
So, yeah, well, even then, bro, like, I wasn't really like a loud mouth type of, like, just get loud and seem aggressive. Nah, it was just when it came down to doing things, I did things.
Right.
And the things that I did, the word traveled on it.
Definitely.
So it kind of built its own reputation.
Yeah, that's one thing I got from watching some of your older interviews is like, oh, Jake learned at a very young age that he had to just not wait for somebody else to be aggressive to him. He had to be ready to just go for it.
No, yeah.
Not let them get the drop.
I started just smacking shit, especially when I went to prison.
Right. Okay, guys, we want to thank you so much for getting us to 100,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. If you want to support, please click that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 200K. Thank you. Thank you so much.